I'm Generic Redstone Genius, and today we're going to be looking at a video game in Minecraft. So first what we're going to do is just quickly explain the premise of the game, then I'll play the game so you can see what it's like, and I'll explain how you can make this yourself. So to start off, the premise of the game is basically you hit these buttons, or note blocks, and it pushes out that pistons, those blocks over there. And what's going to happen is blocks are going to become falling from the ceiling, like they're going to start falling from the ceiling, and you have to press the button, like in time, to knock the block forward so you hit it. So you do have to hit it a bit early, so you have to hit the button when the blocks may be around like there. And then there'll be three colors falling. Yellow, which is worth 1 point, blue, which is worth 3 points, and red, which causes you to lose a point. So basically it's kind of randomized, but you can control the exact amount of blocks that get dropped. So that makes it so you can customize, and the scores are fair. So there's a maximum possible score, and you have to try and hit that. So what we're going to do is just press the button, and it'll randomly start dropping it. So you just have to wait a few seconds. And you have to kind of walk a bit forward so you can look up. You can also hear the ding, that means you hit it. Oops. It doesn't keep in mind if it's like red or what color it is. So it's just to let you know that you did succeed, the dinging noise. The normal, like the more, oh shoot, the wrong one. The normal noise is more just to let you know that you pressed the button. So then when it freezes like this for a minute, you know it's pretty much done. Um, and basically that's it. That's the game. It's pretty cool. So let's just take a look a bit behind the scenes. So if you were to build this in an actual house, you would have to kind of have a bit sticking out like this, and then have this big dome here. The dome technically doesn't need to go this far. It's just because when you look out, you can really only see to like there. So you really only need to build it to like here. But you probably have to build this underground if you want to keep like the actual effect of a video game, where it's like this is like a TV screen and these are the buttons. But yeah, so unfortunately right now you have to manually restart it. I have thought of a way to make you kind of restart it. It's just I haven't had time to build that in yet. But let's look at our score. So we got one red one, 18 yellow ones, and a blue one. So that means we have 18 minus 1, 17, so we have 20 points. And this is all the points we missed out on. So, yeah. So you kind of have to do manually restart at the moment. The way you do that is by simply reloading. So you take like the concrete powder and you can reload it using one of these. And then I'll fill it all in, so you just hold down. And of course, for the I didn't build it in for the other ones, but you can of course just do this and just fill it in. So you can just build this higher, so you don't have to refill it in as often. And yeah, so you also have to manually restart parts of it. So I'll explain how it works first, so that we can then explain how you do it. Okay, so I'm first gonna just go over quickly how we are going to how this works. So basically what's happening here is you place a bunch of different papers in here. And each one of these things, like each one of these columns, corresponds to a different code. So this one will be yellow 1, yellow 2, yellow 3, yellow 4. And we have various papers, so like yellow 1, Y1, yellow 1, and you place whatever amount in here. So the reason we have it like this is so that you can control the exact amount of blocks that fall. So you can say, okay, 10 yellow will fall, 10 red will fall, a few blue will fall, like 2 blue. That way, it's not completely random, because if it was completely random, then it would be too luck-based to like compare scores, because you can get really lucky and have like 8 blue ones fall and you hit all of them, while your opponent can have like 5 red ones and like no blue ones, so they get unlucky based on just like the max possible score would be affected. So that's why we could make sure that it drops the same amount of blocks every single time. It's just that the order is randomized. So what happens is that, so the way it's randomized is that you put those papers into here, and then it'll basically just start taking it out, and it'll fill up this dropper, and then this dropper we'll start dispensing it to there randomly so that we don't know exactly where it is. It technically isn't fully random, but it's basically completely random. Then what it does is we have each of these little item stores, like so it's Y1, Y2, and so on. So that's basically that. This is just a system that basically says, so this is the line of redstone that powers it. By the way, that is completely unnecessary there. That was just something I was going to testing. But yeah, this powers here, which releases the first items. Then the first items will continue letting out items after the signal ends, because this signal is like a pulse, like a clock that keeps going as long as there's items in here. So it keeps on allowing items to flow until it runs out, and that's when it stops. So this is pretty simple. It's just a line of water all the way through that randomizes it. And then when the papers are done being sent through the system, I'm gonna eventually try and release a complete version of this if this gets enough support or if I have time. But basically all the different ones will end up in here. So that's all the red papers, the yellow papers end up here, and the blue papers will end up here. So what I'm hoping to do eventually is link it back through, but then we need a separate button because you can't put them directly in the chest or else like the loop will never end. So I need to figure out a way to, well, a restart button. So that shouldn't be too complicated. I'll work on that eventually. And then we have, so we also have the signals, which basically the issue is that for these, you have to push this button, and that's basically instant. Like it's a second or two. No, sorry, not even a second or two. It's like half a second when you think about it. Like, look, press. And I spent a lot of time trying to make this as fast as I could. So what this is basically you're using an observer, and the reason I had to use note blocks is because if you don't, the button's kind of too small. So when you're like moving quickly, like click, click, a button's too small of a target to hit. So we use two observers going into this redstone line, and then this redstone line, and this is basically a weird pulse extender because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Because the issue with normal pulse extenders is that you need about a 4-tick, 3-4-tick pulse to power them, which would slow it down. So what we have here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's only 1 tick delay, but the pulse lasts for 4 ticks. And then it will unpower this. And since pistons retract instantly, it makes it faster than if we were to push two, because you have to use 2 sticky pistons. So pushing 2 sticky pistons will be a 2-tick delay, whereas just using the redstone torch and then retracting them will only be a 1-tick delay. And then basically we just have this little pattern of slabs to power the pistons, and you just have to make sure that none of the lines intersect. But yeah, yeah. And to take a quicker look at the item sorters, it's just basically hopper going into this line of hoppers that like resets items. Comparator, redstone block, and the block on top of the piston. Block here, repeater going to 1 tick, and redstone torch. So yeah, and basically the way we started is just a whole line of redstone torches to the top. So I hope I did a good enough job explaining this. When I have a chance, I'll try to, and if this video gets enough support, I will definitely try to make a version of it that is fully like automatic. Basically, the only thing you have to reset is put in some more concrete powder and like on occasion. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys decide to build this or attempt to build this in your world. It shouldn't be too difficult, but you will have to figure some things out for yourself. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been Generic Redstone Genius, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.